we're going to be making pizza burgers, and we're going to be making our pizza burgers out of chickpeas. So this is a really delicious recipe. Sometimes I just make the chickpea patties and kind of use them to make like a chicken parm. That's really delicious. You can eat the patties just on their own. This is a great recipe for after work. It seems like it'll be really arduous, but it actually comes together really quickly. And it's really yummy. It satisfies that pizza craving, but in a more healthy way. Cuts out all the cheese. This recipe can also be made entirely plant-based if you either sub out the Parmesan entirely, just add more breadcrumbs, or you can use vegan parm, which is what I'll be using today because I don't have any regular parm in the house. I also don't have any fresh garlic, so I subbed out a couple of teaspoons of garlic powder. And again, the recipe is pretty easy. If you don't have things, you can kind of sub as you go. I don't have any parsley, even though the recipe calls for parsley, so I just added a bit more oregano. So I'm just dicing up the shallots so that we can soften them up in the frying pan a little bit before we add them to our recipes. So we're just gonna dice them nice and small. You don't want them to be a prominent feature in your burger. Okay, so I have our pan warming up on medium heat. I'm just gonna add a little bit of oil to saute the shallot in. If you can't find shallot in your grocery store, you can use red onion. I'm very sloppy today. So you're just gonna toss in your red onion, and we're just gonna pan fry it quickly until it's translucent. We just want it to soften up. We're gonna add a little salt and pepper. Don't be afraid to season your food. The most important part of cooking. Okay, so our shallots are all done, and I've transferred them to a bowl to cool down while I work on the rest of the ingredients. So to my bowl, I'm gonna add chickpeas, which I've already drained and rinsed really well. Now, the only difficult part of the recipe, you have to mash all the chickpeas. So you kind of want to get them mashed into sort of like a shredded tuna-like texture. I decided to try out this masher that I randomly have in my kitchen today, but it's not working very well. So I am going to switch to a fork, which works much better and much faster. So about halfway through mashing, I just started using my hands and really getting it into a dough-like form. So this is where we're at now. So it's nice and sticky and kind of forming into balls. Great project to hand over to the kids. So we're gonna toss in the rest of our ingredients at this stage. So we've got our breadcrumbs, our spices, our parm. We've got 3 tablespoons of pizza sauce. As you can see, I'm not very precise about it. And then we're also gonna add some oil. We're gonna start with 1 tablespoon of oil, and then depending on how the dough sticks together, we'll go up from there. So we're gonna get our hands in here and mix this into a dough. So as you're mixing this together, you wanna make sure that it's starting to form and it will hold its shape once you press it together. Now, you can make this, oops, I forgot our shallots. Gotta get those in there as well. So you can make this into lots of different shapes and sizes. If you're cooking for 4 people, you can break it into 4 and make 4 patties. If you're cooking for 6, you can break it into 6 and make 6 patties. If you've got little ones with you, you can also make them into little mini burger sizes. So they're just mini bite-sized patties for them. There's lots of things that you can do with these. You don't have to pan fry them either. You can put them right into the oven. Today we're gonna pan fry them and then put them into the oven just to make sure that they're extra crispy. So you're just gonna start breaking these off into balls and forming your patty, just like you would if you were working with hamburger or any other kind of meat. Okay, makes a perfect patty. So I'm just gonna place these onto our baking tray until I get them all formed. So I have my pan heating up on medium heat, and I have oil in it already. So we want to make sure that our pan gets nice and hot before we put our patties into it. We're just going to test it by flicking a bit of water on it, and when we hear it start to sizzle, that's when we're going to add them. I also have my oven preheating to 375 degrees. As an addition to pan frying them, you can bake them for an extra 10 minutes just to make them extra crispy. You can also coat them with more breadcrumbs or panko if you have that on hand, again, to make them a little more crispy as well. I didn't do that today, but I would normally do that. Okay, so the burgers are ready to flip. So we're very carefully going to gently do that. They can fall apart easily, so you do need to make sure that you're very gentle. And let them cook again for another 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, so these are ready to go into the oven. So they're nice and brown on both sides. So we're going to carefully take them out of the pan and pop them in the oven for another 10 minutes. All right, so we're ready to go into the oven. The oven's at 375. We're just gonna pop that right into the middle and set a timer for 10 minutes. Okay, so our patties are just out of the oven. I'm just gonna take one, and I have a bun here. I typically like to make these with a brioche bun or a plain hamburger bun, but all I have is this super healthy whole wheat bun. So we're gonna use that today. So this is the part that you can get really fun with it. You can serve them open-faced. You could put any kind of pizza toppings on it that you like. I'm gonna put lots of pizza sauce because I love them super saucy. You could melt mozzarella on them as well, top them with pineapple and green pepper, onion. I love it just with pizza sauce, and a handful of arugula is actually my favorite way to eat it. I don't have any arugula today, so I'm gonna play it super simple and just use the bun and the patty with lots of pizza sauce. I hope you enjoy.